Since 2017, the Italian Wine Podcast has exploded, recently hitting 6 million listens. Support us by buying a copy of Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0 or making a small donation. In return, we'll give you the chance to nominate a guest and even win lunch with Stevie Kim and Professor Attilio Scienza. Find out more at italianwinepodcast.com. Chin chin!
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to the wine hills of Bologna to meet Anna Sgarzi of Cantine Sgarzi Luigi in Castel San Pietro Terme. Ciao Anna, thanks so much for being my guest today. How are you?
Hi Mark, I'm very good today. Thanks for asking, and very pleased to be here with you with this chat.
Great, good. Well, I'm looking forward to our chat too. Anna, first of all, tell us where you are. Tell us what the countryside is like. You're in Romagna, and Castel San Pietro Terme sounds like a beautiful, beautiful little borgo.
It is. Actually, we are in the middle of where the Emilia becomes Romagna, because we are close to the river, which is called Sillaro, which is the geographical division from Emilia to Romagna, even for what is also the regulation concerning wines. So we can do some IGT wines that are proper from Romagna or even from Emilia, because we are in this area. Castel San Pietro has hills, as you told at the beginning, from the hills of Bologna, but the winery is in the plain. So we are lucky to see hills from our window every day. Castel San Pietro is it's a town of about 20,000 inhabitants, and my family, all of them, so both my father and my mother, they born here. So Sgarzi, which is our surname, is a typical surname from this area, which is also the name of the company, Cantine Sgarzi.
Well, tell us the story of the company. Tell us the story of your family winery.
Well, yeah, with pleasure. This is actually a story that I'm very proud to tell, because it's a story of a couple, which is my dad and my mom. They were just 2-3 of them producing wine, and today, after 40 years, we could say we are a proper identity in the wine sector, not just a little winery anymore. The fields, the vineyards, the area where the winery has been built, they were owned by my grandfather, Luigi. The name of the winery, of course, is Sgarzi Luigi. And then also my brother get the name Luigi for tradition. And then, my father, he starts to work in this company, which at the beginning was just... They used to produce, also buying wines, but the way to sell it was just a way to sell it in bulk, so with trucks all around Italy. Then, with the help of my mother, that she was speaking good English and a good German, they start to explore the outside of Italy with the sales of wine, and at the beginning with Europe, and then with other countries all around the world. They start this intense export activity, and before also always with bulk, but in the last 20 years with bottles and other type of packaging.
Well, that's a really, really interesting story, Anna. So we're really going back to your great-grandfather Luigi, who, like other small wine growers in the wine hills of Bologna, but also all across Italy, was producing wines from his own grapes. Is that right? Presumably maybe Sangiovese, Albana, the typical grapes of Bologna, the Colli Bolognese. But then through your father, the business has grown, and you're now working with wine producers from all over Italy to have an extensive range of wines. How does that work?
The buying of wine it's one of, I think, the most difficult things to learn. I don't even know if it's possible to learn how to select a proper good supplier that can be honest and provide you always a good quality wine. Before everything, it's the view that you have of what is going to be, so the future, the nearly future. So even at this time of the year, it's always because we just have the picking of the grapes, it's always important to not just to read analytics, number, forecasting, but you must have like a sensitivity of what's is going to happen on the market. So this is a particular actually characteristic that my father, he has in his blood. Actually, it's one, I believe, not just because it's my father. He really knows the market, the market of buying, actually.
And the market of selling and as well, because he must be like looking into a crystal ball and thinking, well, I'm going to be able to sell wines of this style in these different markets.
Well, the selling, it's more a matter of hear really well what customer or people you have in front they wants to, because we always believe that the wine exhibition, trade fair, they were always a good place where to meet, not just a new account, so not just for find new customers, but also to understand what it was going on the market in that moment, and what were the requests from the market. So in this way, to understand, to observe buyers, general accounts, speaking or asking about wines, is one of the best indicator to understand what you can supply.
Okay. So the family still have your own vineyards. Is that right, in the vineyards around Castel San Pietro?
Yes, we own 140 hectares of vineyards.
Okay, so an important amount. And is that still forming an important core of the business?
Yes, absolutely. We always have to remember that wine is coming from grapes, so we absolutely need. And we if we have the possibility and the chance to increase the vineyards, we are welcome to do that. You know that vineyards in Italy and all over the world are regulated. You cannot plant new vineyards like this. There's a quote. There's a 100 quote of vineyards of Sangiovese, let's say, and you cannot create new ones. So it's not a free market.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. So the wines from your own grapes, would that be the sparkling Pignoletto and Malvasia, as well as the Sangiovese, the Trebbiano, and the Chardonnay?
A little bit of Merlot also.
A little bit of Merlot, okay. So that's really an important core of the business, typical wines from your area. And you also have this incredible range of wines from all across Italy, from Puglia, from Veneto, from Piemonte, from Abruzzo. In fact, almost from everywhere. Are you working in partnership with the same producers year in and year out?
Yes. If there's the chance to do that, yes. If there's a particular situation through why maybe someone cannot supply because they had problems or they don't have enough quantity to supply, we have to change it, but we always try to look in the same area, or for us to keep always the same standards is important. So we try to get a long-term relationship instead to get to one and then to another one.
Sure.
To jump to one supply to another. Document traceability, guarantee of quality is not so easy to find everywhere. We were forced to open our portfolio not just to the Emilia Romagna's wines, but also to other regions of Italy, because the international overview of Italy is not focused on Emilia Romagna wines, no, and so this is why they are always keeping asking about most, let's say, famous varieties of other regions, like Primitivo from Apulia or like Chianti from Toscana.
Yeah, of course, of course. Now, I'm interested too in how your company focuses on the marketing, the sale of wines. You sell in bottle, you still sell in bulk, but you also offer a really interesting variety of alternative packagings, from Tetra Brick, bag and box, as well as wine in cans. Do you think this is something that consumers are increasingly aware of? And will this grow in importance as sustainability and becoming more environmentally responsible is ever more important to consumers as well as to producers?
Yes, it's like this. Those kind of packaging, they exist from a lot of years. It's not born just like in the last years. But we are it's what we are we get in touch with this with this word, no, sustainability, that nowadays is very common. Probably, in my opinion, just speaking like person and Sgarzi, sustainability and the environment should have been considered many years before than today, because today we are talking about this because we are forced due to the climate crisis that we are observing today. And for example, bagging box is something that from the north of Europe has always been requested, and it was looked as a way to drink the wine that was easier, because they had access to a big quantity of wine, like 3 or 5 liters, and they were able to serve their own glass of wine without using open a glass bottle, and even reducing the waste of glass. And the same came out a little bit for all the other kind of packaging, like the Tetra Pak, that was at the beginning really common for juice and soft beverages such as milk or fruit juice. Now the cans, yes, is another very common packaging. Common, let's say, we heard a lot to talk about aluminum cans, always for the concept of the recycle of the aluminum, that it's is recyclable, is 100% recyclable. And today we can say that the 70% of the containers of aluminum we use, it's made by recycled aluminum. Also, Cantine Sgarzi, our winery, actually we start to use, and at the same time studying the cans as a container for wines, not just wines but also for wine beverages. 20 years ago, probably the results was not really good, really satisfying, because even the container itself, it wasn't ready for the contact with the wine. The wine, I have to say, is something which is really difficult to store, because the acidity of the wine doesn't goes really well with with the aluminum. So in all those years, we try to improve the liquid and work together with the can suppliers to understand which was the best way to preserve the wine from the oxidation and the contact with the aluminum. And now we can say that absolutely, for some types of wine, not all of them, to drink a glass of wine from a can, or drink the wine straight from the can, you have the same sensation open a bottle. Like I'm speaking about like a frizzante, a rosé, something which is have to be fresh and easy. I'm not pretend to compare an Amarone with a can, but for some everyday wines, some beverages such like spirits. Today we have very, very, very good results, and a consumer can be more attracted from this type of packaging. Yes, because they have less waste at home, like in a bar. The new generation is putting a lot of attention in reducing the waste and using alternative packaging because they could be recycled or even reduce in the volume of the waste. I believe it's really important, such as the weight of the packaging to transport it.
Wine to Wine Business Forum. Everything you need to get ahead in the world of wine. Supersize your business network. Share business ideas with the biggest voices in the industry. Join us in Verona on November 13 to 14, 2023. Tickets available now at winetowine.net.
Also, Anna, I think looking at the range of canned wines that you do, you have colorful, fun labels. So it's really approaching wine in a very different way from a traditional bottle with the traditional label. As you say, do you think that will make wine drinking in alternative packaging more appealing to a younger generation of wine drinkers? And is that your target market?
It is. I mean, I'm not pretending to get the youngers wine drinkers, but to reduce the distance that today we have built between young and the wine. When I go around, like for example, especially in the summer, and you see a lot of young people that at the restaurant, they instead of asking for a bottle of wine or a good glass of wine, they drink a Coca-Cola or a spritz. Talking about alcoholic beverages, I'm a little bit sad because I believe we have worked too much on the seriousness of wine, and the new generation find difficult to approach to it, and they don't want to appear like ignorant even when they ask about wine, no, at the sommelier, to a sommelier in a restaurant. So to avoid this situation, they prefer to not asking actually sometimes for wines. And I believe that can, for the packaging, for the design that you use for the packaging, for the way of drinking it. So just open, the sound that the cans make when you open it. It's something that could be for them easier.
Yeah, I can really see that. That's really interesting that it takes some of the mystique out of wine, and perhaps wine in a serious heavy bottle that has to be opened with a corkscrew is intimidating to younger people. I'm thinking as well, Anna, that perhaps wine in alternative packaging, certainly in cans, presents opportunities to drink wines in different situations, perhaps more easily on a picnic or even traveling on a train, different occasions from sitting around a table enjoying a meal together, maybe also with different cuisines experimenting. What are your thoughts on food paired with wine served in some of the alternative forms of packaging? Do you think that, again, broadens the appeal?
Well, this is something that I was observing abroad, like in places such as Latin America, like Mexico, no? Where we try, of course, to sell wine even over there. And when you want to approach to something like so far from your traditional way, even to eat and drink, because we all know that they are consumer of spirits instead of wine most of the time. And with the can even approach to this type of food that is also most of the time like street food, and you can also give a lot of choice of what you want to drink, and we always Actually, we get in this type of approach to like Asian cuisine or spicy cuisine from the Latin America, using not very dry wines, but most of the time they have a little bit of residual sugar to help in the pairing with this type of food.
Sure. Well, that's really interesting too, how the packaging as well makes it more approachable to enjoy with different cuisines, or indeed, as you say, with street food. I'm imagining I've traveled a lot in Mexico. I was actually born in Mexico, so
Ah,
it's a cuisine that I really love, and
me too.
I can see that in certain situations that this would be a good, easy an enjoyable way to enjoy wine with meals, because as you say, in Mexico it might be more normally a beer with food because there isn't such a culture of wine drinking.
Yeah, even for the weather. Like for example, when
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
hot and warm, again, it's easier to store and refresh, so it's possible to serve it in different places because you can cool it like in a small fridge instead to refrigerate a bottle. It takes you more time and require you like a proper place or a safe place where to keep it, while the can, it's easier to store and place because you can put one can over the other one, whatever. The can, it's really sensible to humidity and can be damaged. It's not unbreakable, but it's even in any way, it's easy to move cans instead of bottles, especially in place where it's not so easy to get like even energy to for the cooler. So all the those type of cooler that they use to it's good that you know Mexico very well, so especially when they go around, when they sell you like something that it refreshes, sometimes they, most of the time they use this type of cooler with ice inside, no?
Yep,
You
sure.
can, for that it's very useful.
Also, I think the quantity, I think traditional wine drinkers are used to wine coming in a 75 centiliter bottle. And, a lot of people don't necessarily want to drink a whole bottle at a sitting. And in that respect, alternative forms of packaging can also make it easier to enjoy maybe a glass or, a can with a couple of glasses shared between a few people. It's very interesting to think about wine outside the bottle, as it were. Not something that I encounter in my work a great deal, but you've really given me food for thought on this. Anna, is Cantine Sgarzi open to visitors? Can people visit you?
Yes, of course. We are open from Monday to Friday, from 9 to 6 p.m. We ask if it's possible to give us a call or an email before, but we are always open. And then we could be open even the weekend, but we ask for booking before because we have just to organize our team for
Okay.
that.
And of course, Castel San Pietro Terme is a beautiful place to visit in its own right for anybody perhaps visiting Bologna who wants to get out into the countryside. It's a beautiful place to visit.
Yes, thanks for saying that, and even for eating. Don't forget, Bologna is very well known for eating for filled pasta, tortellini, lasagne, and so on.
Absolutely. It's one of the great cuisines of Italy. Anna, thank you so much for sharing your family story of how this important business has evolved from a small family vineyard to now a business that's supplying wines from all over Italy and indeed selling wine all over the world. You've really made me give thought to the benefits of alternative packaging and how they can be appealing to new wine consumers, younger wine consumers, and also to anybody who likes a glass of wine but needs it in a more convenient form. I really enjoyed our discussion, so thank you so much for being my guest today. Grazie.
Grazie, Mark. Thanks to you, Mark, and everybody is listening.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.